This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hi guys, I hope you can see my screen. Just a quick recap of what we learned in the previous session. So, in the previous session, we spoke in detail about the scoop import, right? And we have seen the differences between the target directory and then warehouse directory. Also, we have seen about how to override or how to append the data. And we are already aware of code gen tool, right? And also, we have seen the scoop execution lifecycle in depth. Now let's start today's discussion with specifying the number of mappers. So you can change the number of mappers as well in your scoop import operation. So let's go to the Cloudera Quick Start VM. I will right click anywhere on the desktop, open in terminal, maximize, and I will try to set the title, terminal, set title, give it as MySQL. Click on view and zoom in twice. I'll try to connect to the MySQL here. MySQL hyphen u root hyphen p Cloudera. Show databases, and from these databases I would like to connect to the retail db, use space retail db, then say show tables. So these are the list of all the tables that I've got. I'll open another terminal for Sqoop. So terminal, set title, give it as Sqoop, click on view and zoom in twice. Now I will go ahead to my desktop, right click, create document, empty file, Sqoop advanced import. So let's try to import one of the tables. So go back here. Let's say that I would like to import the odd items table, right? Then I can specifically change the number of mappers also if required. So to start with, I'm going to import, scoop import, hyphen hyphen connect, jdbc colon, mysql colon slash slash, localhost colon 3306, then retail db. Then you can mention username. Username is root. Then the password is Cloudera. Table that I would like to import is order items table. And then you can mention warehouse directory hyphen hyphen warehouse hyphen dir. And one more thing. So before starting the import operation for today, let me clean up everything that I've got here so that I don't need to see any unnecessary issues. So I've cleaned up everything under user Cloudera path. I'll just confirm that again. HDFS space DFS hyphen ls. Check under user Cloudera path. You should not have anything. So I don't have anything. So now I'll go back here and then I'll try to mention the warehouse directory as user Cloudera here. It will automatically create a folder or directory for me with the name called as order items. Then you can specify the number of mappers by using hyphen hyphen num mappers. Let's say I would like to mention the number of mappers as 2. Let's copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Enter. So this will take some time. Let's wait. So now the import operation is done. So our focus will be on number of mappers as 2. As the number of mappers changed, if I can scroll up here, you can also see the number of splits is showing us 2, which is nothing but number of mappers as 2. And the usual process is same, again the bounding whiles query. So how do you calculate the split size? Max minus min divided by number of mappers. So let's take this query, copy this query, go to the MySQL tab, and then paste it here. So have a look here, min value is 1, max value is 172, 198. So max minus min divided by number of mappers. So let's do this calculation. Max is 172, 188 minus 1, so it will be 172, 197 divided by number of mappers is 2 divided by 2. This is 86,098. So that should be the split size. Have a look here, the split size is matching. And number of mappers or number of splits is showing us 2 because that's what we have specified as part of our query. Right? And the rest of the process remains same. And as we have mentioned, the number of mappers as 2, the number of output files will also be equal to 2. So let's go and check the same in order items directory here. So have a look here, we have exactly 2 files. To see the output clearly, let me zoom out a little bit. Let me run it again. Have a look here, I have exactly 2 output part-m files. M is nothing but mapper. So number of mappers that you have mentioned as part of your Sqoop query is actually equal to the number of output files that you have got. Right? And then you can also specify the number of mappers in other way by using -m option. Let's do that. So let's see the list of all the tables once again. Suppose I would like to input categories table now, and I wanted to mention the number of mappers as 3. I can do that this time by using -m option. Copy this and paste it. The table name is categories, and then the number of mappers is -m, let's say 3. Copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. So the input operation is done. Now let's go back to the bounding wells query again. Scroll up. You can just take this bounding wells query, select it, right click copy, go to the MySQL terminal, right click and paste it. So have a look here, min value showing as 1, max value is 58. 58 minus 1 is 57 divided by how many number of mappers were specified? 3, right? So 57 divided by 3, so that should be your split size. You can see that here, 19. Number of splits is showing as 3, and as usually you should be able to see exactly 3 output files in the categories directory. Let's go and verify the same. Now have a look here, we have the categories here. Let's go inside categories. You have exactly 3 output files as expected. So number of mappers is equal to the number of output files. So now let's try to import the orders table, but this time I would like to import orders table by specifying an option called as verbose. I'll tell you the importance of verbose. So let's copy this query and paste it here. I'll use the default number of mappers as 4 and table name is orders. I'll use warehouse directory and then here I'm going to specify hyphen verbose. We'll understand what verbose is shortly. Just copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it, enter. So the import operation is done. Now remember we have mentioned it as hyphen verbose. This is very important especially to debug any issues or to understand what exactly is going on internally. So scroll up. So as we have mentioned it as verbose, you can see a lot of extra information here. Plenty of information, right? And you would get detailed internal details that's happening here exactly. So one thing which I would like to highlight here is if you can see here, always the bounding wells query is run on the primary key of the table, right? So, but the question is, how is it getting the primary key of the table? So if you can go back here, if I can say describe orders, you can see that order ID is nothing but the primary key, right? Now let's go back and try to get the bounding wells query from here. I will scroll down. This is the bounding wells query, right? Select it, right click, copy that, and then paste it. So you can see that this is the bounding wells query that is run. Always remember this bounding wells query is always run on the primary key of the table. So in orders table, order ID is the primary key. Have a look here. Key is showing as PRI, which is nothing but primary key. And the same column is used in the bounding wells query also. Now the question is, how is it getting to know the primary key of the table? So before running this bounding wells query, it's going to run certain other queries to figure out the primary key of the table. So you can see here, retrieving the primary key for the table orders. So they have also given the query here. Let's do one thing. Let's copy this query, select, right click, copy, go to the MySQL tab, and then paste it. Now have a look here. It is running this query on top of orders table to get the primary key of the table. Once this is done, on top of that column, it's going to run the bounding wells query, right? All such detailed information can be seen if you mention hyphen verbose. Not only that, if you remember, I spoke about the split boundaries, right? All the split boundaries also can be seen here. You can see the range of records imported by each and every mapper. So that's the importance of hyphen verbose. If you want to debug any issues, if you wanted to know further more internals of your queries, then better to use hyphen verbose. The point which I want to make here is always the bounding wells query is run on the primary key of the table, right? Now the import operation is done. Import operation is done. Of course, it should have followed the same process. Basically, the default number of mappers is 4 and all that. So let's go and verify the same in orders directory. Now have a look here. We have performed the import operation, right? And of course, the number of mappers is showing us 4 by default, and you can also see 4 output files. So that's how we can specify the number of mappers by using hyphen num mappers or hyphen m. And also we spoke about hyphen f and verbose. Now what I'll show you is I will show you how to compress your data when you perform the import operation. So by default the data is uncompressed, but whereas now I will go ahead and show you how to compress your data when you perform the import operation. I'll tell you the advantage of compression as well. So now I would like to import the orders table once again, but this time in a compressed fashion. So I'll copy this query, I'll paste it here. So this time I would like to use target directory because I would like to slightly change my exact output directory name, orders underscore compressed, and here I'm going to enable the compression by saying hyphen compress. That's all you need to mention. Just copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Enter. Let's wait for 2 minutes. So the import operation is done. So one thing which I would like to highlight here is when you run your Sqoop imports, you might see this interrupted exception. So ignore this. This will not have any impact. And moreover, I have mentioned it as -fn compress. So it follows the same usual process. With respect to the process point of view, there is no change. But the way the data is stored in your HDFS could be changed. So let's go here. So you can just look for the contents under user Cloudera path. You can see that you have orders underscore compressed, right? And remember, this is compressed data. So to confirm, let's go and check the contents under orders underscore compressed. Now to see the output even better, I wanted to zoom out. Let's run it again, right? And also do one thing. So let's run it in -h option so that you can even see the exact file sizes. And I would like to run the same for orders as well. You can see that by default data is not compressed and it was actually taking 700 plus KB for each and every file. But now after enabling the compression, you can see the compressed data. The same data is just taking only 100 plus KB on your hard disk. So the main importance of compression is you can save your storage. The same data can be stored with less amount of disk space. And to confirm that it is compressed, you can see .gz. Basically, .gz compression. So the point is very clear. We use compression to save the disk spaces because the same data can be stored with less amount of disk space. So that's the advantage or importance of enabling the compression. Let's do one thing. Let's try to even check the contents of this compressed data. So I'm going to get this content into my local Linux machine. HDFS plus DFS -get then try to copy this onto your local Linux machine. I'm going to say dot so that it gets copied onto my local machine with the same name. So have a look here. We have the name as orders underscore compressed. So let's go inside this. So right now I'm in orders underscore compressed folder on my local Linux machine. You can see all these are compressed files .gz extension. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically uncompress the data by using gunzip space start.gz. Now the data has been uncompressed. You can see after enabling the compression, it's all 100 plus KB, and after decompressing again, it's back to the normal 700 plus KB. Now you can even verify the contents. Take one of the file. You can see the top 10 records. It's all looking good. You can even check the total count as well. Part star WC-L. Total count is showing as 68,883. So that's how you can basically enable the compression. If you enable the compression, it will save your disk space. Guys, can you see my screen? I hope it is visible. Can someone confirm? I hope I'm audible and you can see my screen. Can someone confirm? Okay, I think Shriram, you're good now, right? I think you can see my screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that's the importance of compression. Now, let's talk about the file formats. So whenever you try to import your data by using Sqoop, by default, it is imported in the text file format. So that is the default file format that is used. You can even mention any other file format also, such as sequence file and everything. So for now, we will not get into the internals of these file formats. We will see how to use a specific file format. So whether you mention it as hyphen as text file or not, by default it is text file format that is used to perform the import operation. Now let's use different file format. Let's say I would like to import my data by using sequence file format. Let's do that. And how to see the list of all the supported file formats, I'll show you now. So you can actually use Sqoop help here. Sqoop space help space import. So let's scroll a little bit up. If you can scroll up, here you should be able to see the different file formats that are supported. Right? You can see here as text file. This is the default file format that is supported. It imports the data as a plain text, and that is the default file format that is used. Give me 1 minute. Sorry for the interruption. I'm back. So I was trying to convey that it is basically going to use the text file format by default, and it imports the data as a plain text, and that is the default file format that is used. Now we can even change the file format. Suppose let's say I would like to import my data in the sequence file format. We can do that. Let's go back here. Let's see the list of all the tables. So suppose I would like to import my departments table. I would like to import departments table by specifying the file format as sequence file format. Let's do that. So I'll copy this, paste it. Table name is departments. Table name is departments. Also, I will change the name here as departments. And then I'm going to mention my file format. So what's the file format? It is hyphen hyphen as sequence file. Right click, copy it, go back here and then paste it. So let's copy this again, go to the Sqoop terminal and right click and paste it. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. Something is wrong. Just a minute. Okay, I think I mentioned the table name is wrong. Should be departments. Departments should work fine now. Let's try again. So whenever you see any error, right, always make sure that first you check your spellings. So that's the important thing. So the import operation is done. So irrespective of the file format, the import operation is still the same. Now I will go ahead and check the data. So let's go ahead and check the data in your HDFS location. So it should be departments. So now let's pick up one of the file. Right click, copy it. Let's check the contents of it. HDFS space DFS hyphen tail, and then mention that file name. Have a look here. As I told, it is a sequence file format, right? It's a kind of binary format. You won't be able to see the data, right? But you can actually get a glimpse of little bit about the content. So select star from departments. You can see it contains only two columns: department ID and then department name. So department ID is 2 and department name is fitness. Department ID is 3. Department name is footwear and so on. But you can just have a glimpse at it. You can see fitness, footwear, something like that. But it's not so readable because it is a binary form. It's not readable form. And as it is sequence file format, you can see SEQ. SEQ is an indication that that's a sequence file format. So that's how you can import the data in any file format. So you can try for the remaining two, such as Avro and then Parquet. Now let me ask you one interview question here. So I have a table. I have a table with multiple columns. I wanted to get the data for only two columns for all the rows. So let me make it clear. So if I describe products table, totally I have 6 columns here, right? But I want the data only for two columns, such as product ID and then product price, only these two. I don't want the data for anything else. At the same time, I want all the records. If I say select count of star from products, I want the data for all 1345 records. And each record must contain only two: product ID and then product price, only these two. Right? So how do we get that? So let me show the same now. So let me use warehouse directory. So here the table name changes. Table name is products and warehouse directory. And then here I'm going to mention hyphen hyphen columns. So this is what you have to mention if you wanted to import subset of your data. So when it's a subset of my data, basically I wanted only two columns in each row, such as product ID and then product price. If that is the use case, then you have to use hyphen hyphen columns. Let's mention those two columns now: product ID, then product price. See, I'll tell you a couple of mistakes people do here. So I'll try to copy this and go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. So you can see that it is basically throwing an error parsing the arguments for import, unrecognized argument product price. So basically it is not able to recognize the product price, because the reason is after this product comma there should not be any spaces. Because of this space, it is not able to recognize the second column. So that is one common mistake I have seen, and let me fix that. This time, instead of product price, let me make it as product cost. Let's go back here, then paste it. So now have a look here. This time again import is failing. Look at the reason. Import failed, column name, sorry, column not found, product cost. Actually speaking, we don't have any column with the name called as product cost. It should be product price. So again, if you make any mistake in the column names, the import will fail. It should be product price. If I can go back and fix it now, it should work fine. Let's copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. This time the import should go fine. So the import operation is done. Now if I can um, basically go ahead and show the data for you. Let's go and check the data in the HDFS location. Just a moment, I'm just using up arrow on my keyboard. Okay, let's check the contents under products. So as usually you can see that there are exactly 4 files as expected. But now if I can check the contents in any one of the file, you should see that it contains only 2: product ID and then product price. You can see that I have the contents only for those two: product ID and then product price. At the same time, we'll make sure that the number of records are matching. Say cat, and then say star, say wc-l. So let us look at the count of the records now. You can see count is showing us 1345. Is this matching? Yes, it is matching, right? So that's why if you wanted to import a subset of the columns, then you can use hyphen hyphen columns, right? Now let me ask you one interview question here. So we are performing the import operation, and always, if you remember, always the bounding whiles query was run on the primary key of the table. To confirm that, I can even pick up the bounding whiles query from this and paste it here. This is the bounding whiles query. If I describe products, again the product ID is the primary key column. Product ID is the primary key column. On the same column, the bounding whiles query is run. So now the question is, what will happen to the import operation if the table doesn't have the primary key? What will happen to the import operation if the table doesn't have the primary key? So we'll find out. So I have these tables, and all these tables have got the primary key. I have to create a new table such that that table should not have any primary key. So how to create a new table from an existing table? Suppose I wanted to create a new table called as orders underscore no pk, basically no primary key, from orders table. I wanted to have the exactly the same content, and that should not have any primary key added. Let me repeat the question. How to create a new table from an existing table with the same data and without having any primary key in it? The answer to that question is CTAS. So CTAS is something that people use. So CTAS stands for create table as select. Let me use that. Create table. Table name is orders no pk as select star from orders. So I'm trying to create a new table called as orders no pk. No pk stands for no primary key from an existing table called as orders. So show tables. I have this new table called as orders no pk created. Let us describe the table. Describe orders no pk. So have a look here. This table doesn't have any primary key. If you look at key column, there is nothing, right? Key column doesn't have anything. Now we will check the number of records. Select count of star from orders no pk. This has got 6,883. How about the original table? Same count. Counts are also matching, right? If you look at the sample data also, it should match. Orders, let's say limit 3. Have a look here, the data is also matching. So that's how we can create a new table from an existing table with the same schema or the same structure, such as the same column names and same data types. And this doesn't have any primary key. Have a look at the key column. None of these are primary keys. Now, again, this is one of the very important interview question. That's where I'm emphasizing more. You have to remember this query. People call it as CTAS. Create table as select. It's called as CTAS. Now, coming back to the original question, what will happen if I try to import orders no pk table? Will it go fine? Let's find out. Table name is orders no pk, and I will leave the rest of the details as it is. Let's copy this. Go to the Sqoop terminal. Right click and paste it. Enter. So guys, have a look here. The import operation is failing. Right? The import operation is failing. And also look at the reason here. So let me do one thing. Let me copy this. Select, right click, copy it, and I will paste it here. So import failed. No primary key could be found for the table orders no pk. So please specify the one with hyphen hyphen split by or perform a sequential import with hyphen m1 option. So guys, remember one thing. Whatever import that we have done till now is called as parallel import. So parallel import is nothing but number of mappers should be greater than 1. And that was the case always, right? So we were mentioning the number of mappers as 4 or 3 or 2, whatever it is. And coming to the sequential import, number of mappers will be equal to 1. coming to the sequential import, number of mappers will be equal to 1, right? And that's what they are suggesting. Perform a sequential import by specifying hyphen m1. Let's do that. Let's try to import this table now by specifying the number of mappers as 1. Let's copy paste that query, and I'm going to mention the number of mappers as 1 by saying hyphen m1, so that it just uses only one mapper. Copy this, go to the Sqoop terminal, right click and paste it. Let's wait for some time. So the import operation is done. Now remember, we have done the sequential import here, that is by specifying hyphen m1. Interestingly, you will not find any bounding vals query here. Do you see any bounding vals query anywhere here? We don't see that. We just see that number of splits is 1, that is number of mappers is 1. And that is the case. If it is a sequential import, if the number of mappers is 1, you will not find any bounding vals query. Now, is there any reason behind that? Yes. To give you a simple example, let's say that there is only one member in the team, right? And if any work that comes to that particular team, then only that particular individual has to do the entire work. There is no other option, right? If there is more than one team member, if there are more than one member in the team, then we'll have to talk about the work division. But if there is only one member in the team, then he will have to do the entire work. The same thing is happening here. As there is just only one mapper, that mapper have to do the entire work. Hence, you will not see any bounding vals query if you're doing sequential import, right? Also, you can confirm certain things. You can actually go back and look for orders no pk directory. How many files should be there now? Exactly one file, because it is sequential import. Number of mappers is 1, and as expected, there is just only one mapper on one output file. Also, if you look at the count of the records, the count of the record should be matching up with the count of your records in your table. So it is showing us 68,083 records, which is actually equal to the total number of records in this table. So basically, only one mapper is trying to import all the 68,083 records. So this is how you can do the sequential import by specifying hyphen m1 option. And there is another interesting way to perform the same by using auto reset to one mapper. Let me show that. Sqoop help import and grep for reset. So here you can see I'm going to use this option now, hyphen hyphen auto reset to one mapper. This will also do the same thing, where it will set the number of mappers to 1 and it will perform the import operation. Copy this option and I'll paste it here. I'll perform the import operation of, let's do one thing, let's create one more. Let's go back to the MySQL terminal, show tables. Let's say that I wanted to create customers table without any primary key. Again, I'm going to use CTAS. Create table customers no pk. No pk stands for no primary key, as select star from customers. Right now, if I say show tables, I should have the table called as customers no pk created. If I describe the table now, and I don't have any primary key on this table. Let's look at the key column. None of them is showing as PRA, which means this table doesn't have any primary key. Now our goal is to perform the import operation of this table. So let's mention the table name. So customers no PK is the table name, and I will leave the rest of the details as it is. Just copy this and go to the MySQL terminal, right click and paste it. Sorry, I should not run this. Again, this is a common mistake because we have multiple terminals, and if you try to run one command in the other one, that won't work. So this is scoop command should be run in scoop terminal only, right? Let's do that. Let's wait for some time. So the import operation is done. Again, remember we have mentioned hyphen hyphen auto reset to one mapper. So this should have just used only one mapper, and as expected, there should not be any bounding wells query. Do you see any bounding wells query here? I don't see that. Just only the number of splits or number of mappers is showing as one. So basically, again, you don't see the bounding wells query if you are doing sequential import. Remember that point. So let's go ahead and check the destination directory. It should contain only one output file. As expected, you can see there is just only one output file. You can even cross check the number of records. HDFS plus DFS hyphen cat. So have a look at 12435 is the count of the records. Let's go and check the same here. Select count of star. Select count of star from customers no PK 12435. Right? The counts are matching. Okay, so that's how we can perform the sequential import in two different ways. One is by using hyphen M1 option or auto reset to one mapper. So this is just one suggestion. There is also another suggestion, right? Let's look at the same. So please specify the one with hyphen hyphen split by. So basically you can mention an acting primary key by using hyphen hyphen split by. Let's do one thing. Let's try to import orders table once again, orders no PK table. And because we have already performed the import operation of this already, to avoid any import failures, I am going to mention hyphen hyphen delete target directory, and here I am going to mention hyphen hyphen split by, and you have to pick up one of the columns as your acting primary key. That is, if I say orders no PK, out of all these columns, you have to choose one of the column which is going to kind of act as a primary key. The criteria is it should be a numerical column and it should not contain any null values and it should be unique. So that is the criteria. So I think it's, let's do one thing, guys. Let's try to do this tomorrow. What do you say? Right? So we'll continue this discussion tomorrow. So we will talk about the split by probably tomorrow because it's kind of too late for you guys. I would like to stop here. Okay. So any other question before wrapping up the session? Okay. If there are no questions, then let's meet tomorrow. We will resume wherever we left off today. We will meet tomorrow then. See you. Bye.
Thank you, Vamshi.
Yeah. See you. Bye. Bye.